Ooh, as tempting as it may be, I'm going to recommend against you using what I'm going to be showing you today. Today, we're going to be going through building a basic API set for .NET Core version 6, but we're going to be using the minimal API. And I'm going to show you all the reasons why I don't think you should use it. So just stay tuned. What we're going to do is we're going to use our project we've used in a previous video to where we have created a full proper API, and you can see in here the program file is very simplistic. It has we are building the builder through the web app create builder, and then what we're doing is after we built it, we're actually adding the services in the services pipeline. Okay, so then that's all that this particular file is doing, and it follows the solid principles pretty closely. It has one function. It has the function of getting the web app started. That's all it does. Okay. Inside of our controllers, what happens is we actually have a controllers folder here, and the controller, this doesn't really follow the solid principles. When we get deeper into this, I'm going to be showing you how to properly split things apart. But what's happening is our controller here is just displaying a very simplistic controller. We've made no changes to this at all. But let's get started here. So there's another way you can actually create a API solution. So I'm going to say I'm going to add a new project. I'm going to use the .NET ASP.NET Core Web API once again. I'm going to say next, and I'm going to call this minimal. Minimal API. Okay, next. Probably spelled it wrong, but it doesn't really matter. Now we're going to use pretty much the same settings as we did before, with one exception. We're going to uncheck use controllers. Now you can always add controllers in later, but why do extra work? But for this example, everything else is going to stay exactly the same. So I'm going to create it. It'll just take a few seconds. Okay, so here we are. And just a heads up, you can see all this code inside of my GitHub repo. You'll see a link inside the show description, which actually will show you where the link is, and you can grab the code from there. Open for use, do anything you want with it. Okay, we're going to move this over and set this as our starter project. And as you can see, let me just fire it up, make sure everything works just tickety fine. Just take 1 second for it to fire up here. And you'll see right away there's no controllers folder. Okay, we'll see why in a second here. I'm just waiting for this to fire up. Okay, so the Swagger interface is open. I'm going to open it up here, and if I try it out, I'm going to execute, and you can see it's creating a set of JSON data, so it works just fine. From the outside point of view, it looks exactly the same, and from the outside point of view, it is exactly the same. But let me show you the little nuances, and this is the reason why I don't really care for the minimal API. First and foremost, the program file is the only file. This is the workhorse. It's doing everything. It's creating our web application, it's building a simplistic pipeline, and it's also containing our code to actually commit and create a API endpoint, and it's done by app.map.get. Okay, so the nomenclature, the format, the syntax isn't great. And all of a sudden, this file is doing a lot of things and is completely breaking the solid methods. And this is probably the main reason I don't like this. This is great. If you need something down and dirty, you just need to be able to grab some data. There you go. You can connect this to a SQL database. But, you know, at the end of the day, it is really kind of mucky messy. It's not really super clean. Like even like the weather forecast. Just taking a look here. Yeah, even the weather forecast is in. The weather forecast is sitting right in the same file. Everything is just kind of lumped. Oh, there it is. No, it's not. Yeah, everything's lumped into one file. So really not that great. I don't recommend it. This becomes like, even though you think, wow, that's simple, everything's right there and I can build from it. What I'm going to be showing you in the videos to come is a methodology to make sustainable code that's going to last for the long term, that's going to be easy to upgrade, easy to port, easy to move to, let's say, in 4 or 5 or 6 years. And if your code's good, it's going to last a long time. But you can take that code and move it to a more modern framework, let's say .NET Core 10 in the future, and it won't be hard. Whereas this will be next to impossible once this is built out to move it. I've seen installations under 4.x before I induced a lot of the different mechanisms that are within .NET Core, like dependency injection, proper mapping, all those things, proper layering. Before I put that into the code, it was just a mess. It was a nightmare to try to modify the code. And to test it, forget it. Not going to happen. I'll be showing you when we actually start to build out our previous one we did in another video, the basic API, which is using controllers. I'm going to show you how we split things apart in the long run, and we can do good testing in it. And it is easy to do, and it is easy to upgrade, and it is easy to replace service classes as you need to without completely rewriting a whole bunch of code, which is just brilliant. That's what we want. And that's kind of the whole reason behind things like using mapping, dependency injection, you name it, you know. These things are new technologies that save us a lot of headache and hassle. Like, this is the way that this is set up here. This reminds me of the days when in .NET 4.x, if we wanted to have something like poor man's dependency injection, we'd have to build factory classes and all kinds of things like that. And it's just mucky. You know, it's not very clean. So I'm showing this to you today. It's a really quick video, but I'm showing this to you today to show you that, yeah, you can use this, but I really and really truthfully don't recommend it. I recommend you take a look at the other video talking about how we quickly build the basic API. I've made no modifications to it, but you've seen how it was. You can see how it was built using the Visual Studio 2022, and that's what I recommend that you use. Stay away from the minimal API. It's great, and it shows you different techniques. It shows you different methods, you know. Believe it or not, I didn't even know there was a map get command until I actually fired one of these up one day and started looking at it going, oh, look at that. That's very interesting. Possible I could use that in other areas, but definitely not here. That's all I got for you today. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If it was a tutorial that has been helpful, please like the video. And if you consider subscribing, please do so. Other than that, have a great day and be sure to check out my other videos. Thanks so much.